Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. How are we doing? So, it's cold outside, as we can all see. So, a cold front's come through, which means that you're probably going to be feeling a little bit more stiff, a little bit more sore from your training. So, generally, when the temperature level drops down and it gets a bit cold, our body's a bit more sensitive to pain and discomfort, and obviously tightness, as that cold's a vasomuscular constriction. So what you'll probably find if you've had a big training week, like most of us have or should have had, that you're probably going to be feeling a little bit more stiff, a little bit more sore, just generally a little bit more tight. So as we move into winter, it's actually going to be more important to make sure that we actually keep really on top of not only just your general mobility stuff that we've been doing, but also just in general of the morning, because you're going to be waking up probably a little bit more stiff, a little bit more sore. And if you're trying to get your consecutive training days in, you're going to have to give your body a little bit more attention than what you might do in summer when you wake up and it's already really, really hot and your body probably feels like a little bit loose already. So yeah, and old injuries and little niggles that we sort of all carry through the years from old injuries or just little things that we seem to pick up along the way, you'll probably feel a bit more susceptible to feeling those each day. So yeah, we're going to give our bodies a little bit more time to wake up in the morning. So yeah, really, really good chance to start that off with a little bit of our static stretching, getting into some good positions, but also we want to finish with something that gets the heart rate up and gets that blood flowing gets that blood flow going through the morning, and actually helps to sort of really kickstart those engines when it gets a bit colder. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, as always, with the feet. So while we're down here and we're just having a bit of a general stretch, I want you to actually take your thumbs and just rub along the bottom of our feet and get those moving, because like I said, we're going to start moving a little bit faster as we go through this session. So we'll start getting our muscles and tendons and tissues and everything lengthened out with some of our static stuff. Okay, but then we'll finish with getting our heart rates up. And I've been doing these more with recordings than the live stuff, because these, as I've sort of mentioned in the first couple, are so individualized that it's really important that you sort of stop, go back or hit the pause button or something like that, and take the time on the ones that you really feel like you need to do a little bit more. So if I sort of skip through one that is like I said, the movements that you feel you need to do more of, like I always feel a little bit more tight in my hip flexors or in certain areas, so I'll really sit in those stretches a little bit longer. But the ones that you feel a little bit more tight, I want you to hit pause on the recording and hang in those stretches or movements a little bit more, and then go through at your own pace. So these kind of work really well with the recorded version, because you can stop, go back, or skip through ones that you either can't do or aren't really relevant to you as well. So so yeah, the recordings work really well, because then it's you can do whatever you want with it. Okay, so let's jump up. So I'm going to start with those toe lifts like we do. Just going from big toes up, 4 down, all 4 up, big toes down. And we're going to just be walking backwards and forwards on the heels, and then up on our toes. And then quickly again, big toes up, 4 down. Like I've said in these last couple, really, really important to start with the feet, because they're going to be acting as the base to support the rest of our body. So on the toes. Beautiful. All right. So what we're going to do is I want you to come down into a nice deep squat. Okay, only as deep as you feel like you can. And I'm just going to rock side to side. So we're going to start getting into a little bit more, like I said, dynamic stuff. So just side to side. You can let your heel come off the ground as you go a little bit further to the side. That's it. Let's get out of that and just give the hips a bit of a break. I'm just going to a nice deep lateral lunge. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing some of our dynamic movements with our static stretches. Like I said, when it's really cold, you might find on a normal day, you can drop into that deep squat and sit there pretty comfortable. But if it's been a big training week or just that general coldness as the temperatures drop, might feel a bit more uncomfortable. So sometimes we need to mix up some of these static stretches with our dynamic movements, just because we need to ease our way into some of those. Other side again. And like I said, you can hit pause on these recordings and do this a couple more times if you're feeling really restricted in that area. But if you're ready to go back into that deep squat and go side to side. It should feel a little bit easier now after adding in some of those static ones. We'll just hold our position, hold opposite shin, and come up to the roof. Oh, my back just cracked. Really nice. Oh, wow. And just keep alternating side to side. That's it. And one more. Oh, so good. Oh, alrighty, so I'm just going to tilt this down. Beautiful. So again, now we're going to just work around the outside. So we're going to go into a deep pigeon stretch as our static movement, and this is going to go into our J stretch as our dynamic movement. So again, mixing the two. So just hold, start to bring our breathing into it. So remember, our breathing helps us our nervous system to relax and let our muscles actually relax and go deeper into some of these stretches as we exhale. Change sides. And if you want to, what I want you to do is swap over and do the other two again if you're feeling a bit tight. But if you're feeling okay, we'll go back to the other side, but come up a bit further, hands on the ground, and go into our J stretch out to the side. So this is our dynamic one, so we're moving, so hips back, out to the side, have a bit of a roll, find some tight spots. You might find it, feel it through your lower back a little bit here. And make sure our hands and front knee stay on the ground. As soon as you fall over to the side, you'll lose that stretch through that external rotator on the outside of your hip. That's it. And then other side. Try and keep moving as much as we can in this one. Have a bit of a roll, find that tight spot. Because everyone's going to feel tension in different areas, there's no exact perfect position to be in. The right position to be in is where you feel it the most. So this is where you have a bit of a play. You might need to push back a bit further or come further forward or a little bit further to the side to find your tight spots. And then come back up. And again, if you're feeling really tight, if you're getting a really good stretch there, do it again, put this on pause and do it again. Okay, so that's what we're encouraging in these ones. So now, just take this back up a touch. I'm going to work on the front side of the hips and go static. Just nice, long, deep hip flexor stretch. And then our dynamic movement's going to be our supine scorpion stretch in a second. So this one we never really bounce into and turn into a dynamic movement, okay, just because if you do hold a lot of tension down through the front, there's a lot of tissue, musculature that attaches to the front anterior side of our pelvis and integrates into our quad muscles. And if we bounce into this one, we're going to do a little bit of damage. Okay, so we never really try and bounce and push this stretch, just ease into it. Find the end range of where it feels like it's the most amount of stretch, and we just hold it there, take a few deep breaths, and then come back out of it slowly, okay? So these static stretches, we never really want to, well, never really ever want to bounce into, try and sort of like force the issue, Beautiful. All right, again, if you need to go through those a little bit more, go for it. But now, what we're going to do, one of my favorite ones, which we usually do every mobility session, is now up and over, hand towards the other hand, and back down. And we're going to keep moving. So this one, we hold just at end range, just for a tiny little bit. Just a couple of seconds. And only come up as far as you feel like you can. And if you can't go to one hand and support yourself, that's fine. Just go through just a hip bridge like we would at the gym, and then just come back down and squeeze in the glutes and back up. But if you can add the scorpion in, one more, go for it. It feels great. Oh, so good. Alrighty. So, like I said, we're going to add a little bit more stuff that gets the heart rate up. So we're going to do a little complex now. Now that we've had a bit of a stretch on the external rotators, we've had a stretch on the anterior side of our hips, we've had a little bit of a stretch through our deep adductors with our static holds here. So now we're just going to go through just a couple of little movements that now just sort of put it together. Okay, and we're going to get a little bit more blood flow coming up through here. Okay, so what I want you to do is we're going to go through a couple of things. So what I want you to do is come down into a deep squat, just as low as you feel like you can, okay? And we're going to do some forward duck walks. 3, 4, 5, and then backwards duck walks. If you can, keep your hands off the ground, have a look behind you, make sure you're not going to trip over anything, and go through 5 steps forward, and 5 back. Nice. And then we're going to come into our sides, and we're going to go into our side stretch and quick changeovers. Okay, so keep your hands on the ground for support. We're just going to keep moving side to side. Good. And our third one that we're going to put into this one is we're going to go into our lunge. Same hand as our foot, so hand on the inside of our foot. Bring it all the way up, round for our thoracic stretch. And then stepping back. Okay, changing feet, down into our lunge. Same hand, same foot. Up and around, opening up with our breath. Sitting up and pushing back. Okay, we're just going to alternate through these a couple of times. Oh, bringing the whole body into it with our thoracic movement. And if we keep our eye on our hand, we're actually going to get a nice rotation through our cervical spine as well. So working thoracic, cervical spine, and pushing back. Very good. All right. That's one time through. We're going to go through again. So duck walk. 5 forward. 5 back, and again. Very nice. So you should be able to feel your heart rate starting to come up. And this is the part where, yeah, if you need to put everything on hold and pause it and go through at your own pace, absolutely fine. You don't have to do it at my pace. Okay. Lateral lunge, really sink in and fast hop. So find your end range, find, yep, that's the furthest I can stretch it safely, and then pop back to the other side. Okay, so this is not rushing through at all. This is slowly finding your end range, which as you warm up, we'll get a little bit further, a little bit further. Swapping over, find that end range. That's as deep as I can go. And then move to the other side quickly. Beautiful. All right, last time up here. Stay down, same hand. Up and around, hold. And strong push back. So I want you to control the lunge just like we do in all our strength movements. Okay, so we're stretching and moving quickly. So that control to the floor is actually keeping a lot of our stabilizer muscles active, controlling eccentrically. And those eccentric muscle contractions are actually helping. Beautiful. Those eccentric muscle contractions of controlling our lunge down to the floor, that's actually working on mobility as well, because eccentric means to lengthen those muscles out. And when we activate a lot of those stabilizer muscles, what we're doing is we're actually getting them to control into that end range, which you'll find actually increases our mobility over time. Beautiful. So mobility doesn't have to be all slow, boring, holding static stretches for 30 seconds. So what we've done is we've now got our bodies into optimum range, lengthening our muscles and our tissues with some of our dynamic stretches, with some of our static stretches. We've got our joints moving through greater ranges now with our dynamic stretches. We've got our heart rate up a little bit, promoting some fresh blood flow through, which is obviously going to help bring our core temperature up on these colder mornings. And you're going to find that you're actually going to feel a lot better straight away. So what I want you to do is, if you had to pause and go back through any of that, or if there's anything you couldn't do, modify a few things, okay? And what I want you guys to do is just finish, once you've gone through as much of that as you can, just finish just in a nice deep cross leg. Okay, so cross-legged position. If you can't get cross-legged, just sitting onto your knees and sitting on your heels, but just somewhere where you can just take a nice few deep breaths. I'm going to go cross-legged here just because it's still quite challenging for me. So just sitting just with a few nice deep breaths, and I want you to finish going through just some what we call box breathing. Bring our heart rate back down. We've got some nice blood flow going, and we want to settle our heart rate. So just going through breathing 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds. And that box breathing, that 4, 4, 4, 4, it's actually a little bit of a mindfulness practice that we've put into our parasympathetic reset day on our Sunday rest day. And it's really good to practice it now and go through. So I won't sit here and bore you by doing it myself, but I want you to see if you can finish your mobility sessions with some of that. It's a really, really basic mindfulness practice that Meg uses with a lot of our clients and our athletes as a way to become present in the moment, start to help contain a lot of our thoughts and our focus and our attention, okay, just into a simple specific task and a simple, one simple mechanism, which is our breath and our breathing. So it's really, really good place to practice it, so that when, if you are an athlete and taking it into your sports setting or your training setting, something that you're actually practicing focusing attention, it's really, really good. So yeah, this is a basic one that Meg has taught me and has used with a lot of our clientele and a lot of our athletes. So see if you can finish most of our stretching mobility warm-up sessions with that, and you'll find that it's going to be a really helpful tool in your toolbox when you learn how to use it correctly. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Go back, go do as much of it as you need, and hopefully this helped warm you up on this cold winter's morning. All right, have a great day.